Yo guys, and welcome back to another Aquatic stage video, and today we're going to be checking out the 12 Easter eggs that I've hidden among this adventure for you treasure hunters out there to try and find. It has been about 2, maybe 3 weeks now since the adventure was actually released. I have also since created a walkthrough of the adventure for those of you who cannot play it yourselves. So now I think it's a great time to finally reveal the Easter eggs themselves. Some are very easy to find, some that you may have actually noticed or spotted during the process of making the adventure. Some are kind of tricky. So guys, let us begin. The very first Easter egg that you'll spot that you might not actually notice is of course the Tamaranian Jellies. A couple of them hovering in the shallows as well as 1 or 2 of them in the coral forest. The Tamaranian Jellies are of course a reference to the original 2005 demo of Spore in the Aquatic stage. You see a couple of these floating around within the ocean. The second Easter egg, of course, is by going up onto the surface and finding an entirely new but very hostile world up here, and that does include a bunch of Willosaurs who will immediately come out and attack you. This has multiple layers of being an Easter egg, the first of all obviously being the Willosaur, which is one of the staple creations made by Will Wright during his 2005 demonstration, as well of course the fact that they attack you being a bit of a callback to the sea monster who attacks you when you enter the ocean. These will attack you when you enter the land. As well of course the entire surface area also being an Easter egg in itself. Now after the initial 2 Easter eggs and finishing the shallows themselves, we come into the coral forest, where we have quite an abundance of little Easter eggs here and there. The first of which might be one of the harder ones to spot, but very subtle and very familiar, is of course Nemo, which you can find in the resident anemone that is in the coral forest. There's only one anemone, so as soon as you find that one, you'll find little Nemo himself. Now as you progress through the coral forest and you explore every nook and cranny, you will eventually come across this little alcove here which will reveal the 4th Easter egg, which is this little interesting creation here, which I've nicknamed the Legion or the Swarm. This is basically a bit of a silly reference during a live stream, where a typical creation would normally have an awareness of maybe up to 175, give or take. This creation here, for whatever reason, has an awareness score of over 2 billion. This ended up being a result of one of the mods I'd used to add as much complexity into the adventure as I have, but it did end up having like a rather funny moment during the live stream itself, and I figured it would be nice to immortalise that moment. Further exploring of the coral forest will reveal an additional Easter egg which was extraordinarily requested, and one that I really had to keep quiet and not to reveal too soon. For those of you who are in combat stance and you like to spam tab like I do, you may notice this breakable wall here, which if we go ahead and strike it open, doesn't matter which battle attack, just any attack will do, you'll come across a bit of a secret opening into this wonderful area here. That's right guys, it is a crab reef, and if you play the in-game sounds as well, the in-game music, you'll actually hear some rather nice fitting music to go along with it. Unfortunately I can't play it due to copyrights, but you will hear some music to go along with these raving crabs. Like I said, I really tried hard not to leak this too soon. Now moving on from the coral forest and into the open ocean, we'll find quite an abundance of Easter eggs, some obvious, some subtle, but quite a few situated here nonetheless. Now one of the first ones that you may notice, which again may not really be that obvious, is this Tamaranian whale here, which is another beta creation based on the Spore 2005 demo. And right next to the Tamaranian whale is in fact another very frequently requested Easter egg, is of course a boulder, an Easter Island head, and of course a pineapple. I think you guys can figure out what this one's from. Now another very highly requested thing was ruins and underwater civilizations, which in my opinion did not make sense for our planets that were still evolving. That being said though, I did add a crashed spaceship belonging to the Groks. This being a reference, well, it's being all sorts of references, 1 to the Groks, 2 to the spaceship events during the creature stage, 3 to have like again an additional just Easter egg hanging around here, that underwater, you know, like civilized ruin that a lot of you guys are asking for. It's a bit of an amalgamation between all of these, but I think it kind of hits the nail on the head. Now the final Easter egg in the open ocean area is a big Subnautica reference. This was both done for functionality as well as the obvious Easter egg, and that is that as you swim too far out of the boundary zone, making the area seem larger than it really is, as you swim further out, a Leviathan will come over and attack you. And what perfect Leviathan could I get other than the Ghost Leviathan itself? Thanks to a really unintended glitch, as you make a creature too large in the adventure editor, they do actually become semi-transparent. And as you can see here, What better creature to have semi-transparent and glitched out than the Ghost Leviathans themselves? And as a super duper subtle reference, if you are quick enough to take it before they kill you, they of course have over 9,000 health. Seems fitting, don't you think? After completing the open ocean area and venturing into the deep dark, we now find our final 3 Easter eggs. All of which, in my opinion, are rather tricky to find, although one of them more than the other 2. So as we venture into the deep dark, you will notice that along this trench are all of these raised platforms, which just seemed like too big of an opportunity to just hide something among them. Now, a bit of an unintentional thing that's pointed out by my testers that I ended up really taking advantage of is the fact that this platform here is actually easily parkourable due to the platform here. So if you make your way upwards, you'll actually notice a bit of a strange white blob, this being yet another 2005, or probably before that actually, another beta Spore reference and another highly requested one, which is the Debug Squid. Which, in my opinion, just felt extremely fitting to have in such a deep and alien environment. Now, right next to the Debug Squid, as you venture into this volcanic area here, while everything's looking rather, you know, otherwise distracting, like a lot of things are going on here, if you take a moment to look upwards, what you'll actually notice is the big boy Godzilla himself. Just lurking in the deep dark, great big epic in the distance, lurking among the volcano. Once again, another extremely requested one that I very carefully had to try and not spoil. So among all these Easter eggs, there is the one final one, which in my opinion is probably the hardest one to find, but also the most fun. You guys may have noticed a certain silver reinforced door in the trench itself. A couple of you actually noticed it during the trailer, a lot of you have noticed it in game. While it is the 12th Easter egg, that isn't it alone. You actually have to figure out how to open the door itself, and it requires various keys. And I know some of you have been racking your heads trying to figure out where those keys are, so today I'm finally going to show you. So all 3 keys are fairly well hidden. 2 of them are kind of in plain sight, but at the same time not very noticeable at all. One of which is of course in the deep dark itself, which if you may have noticed as you're exploring around trying to find upgrades and such, you'll find one of the keys right here. Now you know that this is a key for the doors, or at least for an Easter egg, because it's a remote control which has absolutely no place being in the open ocean. And so if you take that key and bring it to the door, you'll notice one of the doors are now gone, but you've still got 2 more to go through. Now the earlier stages of the shallows and the coral forest really did stress to the player how important nests are. And also in the coral forest, by opening nests and opening caves and such, exploring what's inside, you actually get really cool upgrades and bonuses. One of which in particular is a bit of a secret entrance into the underneath of the open ocean. Now this was another very highly requested thing that I wasn't really able to make a functional part of the adventure, but I could at the very least sneak it in as part of a larger Easter egg. Now that being said, that does actually allow the player to come to the to the SpongeBob reference here and actually break poor Patrick's boulder. And I have to admit, this is really a missed opportunity to add a little starfish in there. It didn't occur to me at the time, and I do feel a bit guilty about that, but hey, it's a nice little bonus. Speaking of nice little bonuses, as we encounter these 2 epics here, we have this one here called an epic Nyalotha. Now, this creature here was originally called a Sea Godzilla, I believe, or a Godzilla Leviathan. I wasn't really a fan of the name, knowing that we already have a Godzilla in here. So I named it Nyalotha, named after the underwater old god empire in World of Warcraft. I suppose it's a very obscure Easter egg for the WoW fans out there who bothered to go and check it out, so I don't really count it as one, but it's a very subtle reference. Now that being said, as we are underneath in the grand open ocean, if you actually take the time to explore the Grok spaceship, you'll notice another remote control. This is the second key of the 3 to opening the Silver Gate. Now with the first 2 keys being in the deep dark and the open ocean, it only felt fitting that the final key would be somewhere in the entirely opposite direction, that is of course hidden among the surface. Now this I thought was the easiest key, turns out to have been the hardest one to find. But as you breach onto the surface and take a very sharp right, the key is simply hidden right here. You just have to hope that you can get it before the Willosaurs get to you. So once you've finally found all 3 keys and you bring them to the gateway, you are able to cross through and you'll find yourself teleported into this unique room, which of course includes a Jowie. Hey guys, a lot of you guys were asking for a Jowie. I thought it'd be a perfect opportunity. And of course, a Jowie has something to say. I'm very impressed, player. I tried to make this Easter egg a challenging one, and yet here you are. You didn't cheat, did you? I truly hope that you have enjoyed this adventure. This has been a huge challenge to create, but a great and enjoyable one for sure. Oh, why is there a Jowie here, you wonder? Well, first, obligatory Jowie. But for real, I wanted to add one last piece to this giant puzzle and include myself into this adventure as a surprise. This way I can say thank you. Thank you everyone for all of your enthusiasm, all your effort, all your passion and joy with this giant project. It has been an amazing journey. Thank you to my Discord, YouTube and Twitch communities for supporting me, for creating props and so on. And thank you to Era, also known as Metal Blaze and Spore, and to Barak for spending so long testing this and making sure that everything would be shareable and could actually be delivered to you guys. So, like I said, obligatory Jowie, but mainly I did want to insert myself into this somehow for those of you who were playing. Hell, for those of you who may have not actually been watching the videos, maybe just those of you on the Sporepedia, that way you guys just still have that little extra piece to enjoy and take from all of this. Well then guys, there you have it. That is all 12 Easter eggs. There were many more that I did want to add. Unfortunately, complexity was a thing and I couldn't add quite as many. That being said though, for any future adventures, I probably won't be making them quite this detailed, so we're going to be having a lot more freedom in the future. But this adventure here was a huge experiment, really started things off with a bang. And like I said, I just really hope that people enjoyed it. As far as I know, only 2 players have actually managed to make it this far and find the Jowie. But now that we have this video out there, I hope that you can all enjoy it as well. Again guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of these, let me know what you think of the various Easter eggs, which one is your favourite? Let me know that as well, I'm always interested in hearing that out. It gives me ideas for future adventures of course. And as always, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you all next time. Cheers.